morning to one and all. The traditional convention of Tamil Nadu, lighting the Kutuvilaku, symbolized the dispelling of ignorance and dawn of knowledge. I invite our dignitaries on stage to light the lamp and illuminate our event with their presence.
Sabun kuch bukul dengan mana? Sir, 10 minutes, sir. Okay, sir.
Sessions of IPC 2024. Without further ado, let us commence the event. Let us begin the day with an invocation of blessings. I request one to stand as we render the Tamirai Baltu and Arasal Baltu, seeking divine grace and inspiration for the proceeding or ahead.
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்து கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் வதனமென திகழ் பரத கண்டமிதில் தெக்கணமும் அதிசிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறையுதலும் தரிதனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் வணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழிடம் வியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே 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 தில்லை பதியுடையான் சிற்றம்பலம் அள்ளும் பகலும் நின்று ஆடுகின்றான் எல்லை கண் அண்ணாமலைவன் அமைத்த கலைக்கழகம் கண்ணால் கண்டு கழித்து காணாத பெரும் கழகம் களத்து வைத்தான் இல்லாத புலவர்களை இரு போராக்கி இணையாத தமிழ் புகழை ஈட்டி கொண்டான் வெல்லாத செயலில்லை என்று போற்ற விளங்கியவன் மன்னண்ணா மழையன் வாழ மணி காட்டும் கோபுரம் போல் உயர்ந்த நெஞ்சும் மழை காட்டும் மகளம் போல் விரிந்த நோக்கும் பணி காட்டும் திருக்குறளி வாழ்வும் பதவியெல்லாம் படி போல கடந்த பாங்கும் அணி காட்டும் தாமரையால் அடைந்த மார்பும் ஆரையுமே உறவாக அணைக்கும் கையும் பிணி காட்டும் மருத்துவன் போல் பேணும் அன்பும் பெற்ற தமிழ் முத்தையவில் பெரியோன் வாழ்க பெற்ற தமிழ் முத்தையவில் பெரியோன் வாழ்க பெற்ற தமிழ் ராமசாமி பெரியோன் வாழ்க பெற்ற தமிழ் ராமசாமி பெரியோன் வாழ்க.
Thank you one and all. To officially welcome all the esteemed guests and participants,
beloved Registrar,
आपण
ICPR and IPC officials, esteemed delegates, distinguished guests, and dear participants. It gives me immense pleasure to me to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to each one of you at the Indian Philosophical Congress and its 98th and 99th session on diversity of Indian culture, which is organized by the Department of Philosophy, Annamalai University. In this occasion, I welcome the chief guest, 27th Guru Mahasannidhanam of the Chidambaram Adinam, has made significant contributions to the society and promoting Tamil Saiva traditions and heritage. Under his leadership, the Adinam continues to publish and disseminate Saiva literature. He supports educational endeavors that import both spiritual and secular knowledge, fostering a well-rounded understanding of Tamil culture and Saiva philosophy. Another important thing is Guru Mahasannidhanam is our alumnus of our Annamalai University, degree in the Department of Tamil. நண்பர்களே, தர்மயானிதத்தின் 27வது குரு சன்னிதானம் தற்பொழுது எண்ணற்ற கோயில்களை புனரமைத்து கும்பாபிஷேகம் செய்வது மட்டுமல்லாமல் நலிவுடைந்த பள்ளி கல்லூரிகளை தத்தெடுத்து ஏழை எளிய மக்கள் இலவசமாக கல்வி பெற எந்நாளும் உழைத்து வருகிறார்கள். அது மட்டுமில்லாமல் சுற்றுப்புற சூழலை பாதுகாக்கும் வகையில் 60,000க்கும் மேற்பட்ட மரக்கன்றுகளை நடுவதிலும் சாதனை புரிந்து இந்திய மற்றும் குறிப்பாக தமிழ் கலாச்சாரம் மற்றும் பண்பாட்டை பேணுவதில் முதன்மை ஆதீனமாக விளங்குவதால் அவருடைய ஆசைகளோடு இந்த கருத்தரங்கம் தொடங்குவதற்கு சால சிறந்ததாக நாங்கள் கருதுகிறோம். அப்படியே பெருமை வாய்ந்த குருமகா சன்னிதானத்தை கருத்தரங்க செயலாளர் என்ற முறையில் வருக வருக என வரவேற்கிறேன். I welcome Professor T. Arisuli Madam, member of the Vice Chancellor Convener Committee, syndicate member, and the Dean Faculty of Fine Arts. She is a great musician and she is always encouraging me to conduct this mega event. Welcome you, ma'am. I welcome our registrar, Dr. Prakash sir. He is an agriculture scientist and guiding source of me. I welcome you, sir. I welcome the officiating chairperson of the IPC, Professor S.K. Singh, the former Vice Chancellor. He is also a guiding source to me and he is always contacting me to progress of this Congress frequently. And another personality, Dr. Professor S. Panneerselvam, former professor in the Department of Philosophy, University of Madras, and the General Secretary of IPC. He is also the guiding source and he is the man behind the success of this Congress. Welcome you, sir. I welcome the ICPR Member Secretary, Professor Sachinandan Mishra. Sir, really I thank you for approving all our proposals. Based on that, we have conducted many programs regularly in our department funded by ICPR. Further, our department PhD scholars continuously getting JRF through ICPR. Thank you for your humanness on our department. Welcome you, sir. I welcome the young hero, Professor William Sweet. He is going to give keynote address. Not only he is named Sweet, he is also sweet to deal with all. He is a great Canadian philosopher, past president of the Canadian Philosophical Association, well-known academician. It is very special to be attending this Congress, coming from Canada. Thank you and I welcome you, Professor. I welcome our Honorable Dean, Dr. K. Vijayarani ma'am, for this occasion. I also welcome the ICPR officials and IPC office bearers, Professor Dilip Kumar Mahanta from Calcutta, Professor Srikala Nayak from Kerala, Professor Xavier Mao from Meghalaya, Professor Anand Mishra from Banaras Hindu University, and Professor Lakshmi Kandapalli from West Bengal. I welcome our syndicate members, deans, all the faculties and the heads of the departments, faculty members, research scholars, students of Annamalai University. And I also welcome our controller of examination, Dr. R.S. Kumar, and all our control section officials, and my mentor, Dr. S. Rajendra here. I welcome you, sir. And Dr. Murali, Dr. Appan Ramanujan, and Dr. Selva Kumar, I welcome you all. I also welcome the principal of Dharmayadana College, Dr. Swaminathan, in this occasion. I welcome you, sir. I welcome our department faculty members, researchers, and my students, and all the participants of this Congress. Dear friends, before concluding my welcome address, I want to convey that this Chidambaram bears a significant importance from both cultural and historical perspective as well. Now R&D, Western scientists have proved that, and Lord Nataraja's symbol of cosmic dance, his big toe is the center point of the world's magnetic equator. So for this great holy land, Annamalai University and the Department of Philosophy is established in the year 1929 by Dr. Raja Sir Annamalai Chettiar. Our department is marching towards centenary and beyond. Since the university started in the year 1929, only the 5 departments have been started there, and among the 5, philosophy is one of the subjects in those days. So still we are marching towards the centenary. And we have already sent scholars doing PhDs from Canada, Australia, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, and Northeast states also. And we have already conducted the Indian Philosophical Congress twice in our university in the year 1952 and 2011. This is the third consecutive we are conducting this Indian Philosophical Congress in third time. If IPC permit, you are ready to conduct the centenary year here. This is the, and then this is the third time we are conducting the Indian Philosophical Congress, and we have received more than 350 articles even from abroad, and we are honored to have with us Guru Maha Sannidhanam, whose presence and immense value to this Congress. This Congress is a confluence of brilliant minds, researchers, academicians, professionals, and students coming together to share ideas, exchange knowledge, and foster collaborations that with all drive innovation and progress in our field. We look forward to engaging discussions, insightful presentations, and meaningful interactions. We believe this conference will serve as a platform for learning, networking, and growth. Once again, I extend my warmest welcome to all of you. Let us together make this event a memorable and impactful one. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for your warm welcome address. Since Tamil Nadu is renowned for its hospitality, now we take a moment to honor our distinguished guests whose contributions to this field and this event are invaluable. Please join us as we express our gratitude. Now, Dr. J. Thirumal, Head of the Department of Philosophy, Annamalai University, will honor Tharumai Adinam 27 Guru Maha Sannidhanam, Srila Sri Kailai Masinamani Deshida Gyana Param Acharya Swamigal with memento. Now, Dr. M. Karani will honor Professor T. Arupselvi, Member Syndicate and Member of the Vice Chancellor Convener Committee, Annamalai University, with memento. Now, Dr. S. Sanidhyaviran will honor to Professor M. Prakash, Registrar, Annamalai University. Now, Dr. K. Ravindran will honor to Professor S. Panneerselvam, General Secretary of IPC with memento. Now, Dr. C. Leela Devi to Professor Kusum J, the General President of IPC for the 98 and 99 session with memento. Now I call Dr. J. Thirumal to honor Professor William Swade from St. Francis Xavier University, Canada, with memento. Now I call Dr. M. Bharani to honor this, Professor Sachidananda Mishra, Member Secretary of IPC with memento. Now I call upon Dr. S. Sanidhyaviran to honor to Dr. K. Vijayarani, Dean Faculty of Arts at Annamalai University with memento. Now I call Dr. K. Ravindran to honor SKC, Officiating Chairman of IPC. Now honoring the office bearers of IPC.
Good morning to all and all. Dr. J. Thirumal will honor Professor S.K. Singh, Officiating Chairman, IPC. Then Professor Dilip Kumar Mohanda will be honored by Dr. S. Sanidhyaviran. He is the Vice Chairman, IPC. Then Dr. C. Leela Devi will honor Professor Srikala Nayak, Joint Secretary, IPC. Then Dr. J. Thirumal will honor Professor Xavier Mao, Joint Secretary, IPC. Dr. K. Ravindran will honor Professor Anand Mishra, Joint Secretary, IPC. Dr. S. Sanidhyaviran will honor Professor Lakshmikant Padi, Treasurer, IPC. Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor to have with us today Darumai Adinam Maha Sanithanam Sri Masilamani Desiga Gyana Paramacharya Swamigal to deliver the benedictory address. Let us listen with attention to words of wisdom from this reverend figure.
எல்லாம் நல்ல செந்தமிழ் சொக்கநாத பெருமானுடைய திருவருளையும் தர்மயாதில் குருமணிகளினுடைய குருவருளையும் சிந்திக்கின்றோம். இன்றைய நாள் ஒரு நன்னாள். அண்ணாமலை பல்கலைக்கழகத்தில் இந்திய தத்துவ துறையின் விழாவினை அண்ணாமலை பல்கலைக்கழக தத்துவத்துறையின் மூலமாக இது 99 மாநாடுகளை நடத்தி கொண்டிருக்கிறது. அடுத்த மாநாடு 100வது மாநாடாக அமைய இருக்கிறது. இந்த விழாவிலே கலந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்ற அண்ணாமலை பல்கலைக்கழக துணைவேந்தர் அவர்கள், பதிவாளர் அவர்கள் மற்றும் இந்த விழாவிற்காக வருகை தந்திருக்கின்ற பல்வேறு நாடுகளிலிருந்து வருகை தந்திருக்கின்றவர்கள், பல மாநிலங்களிலிருந்து வருகை தந்திருக்கின்றவர்கள், இந்த கட்டுரை படிப்பதற்கும் பார்வையாளராகவும் கருத்துரையாளராகவும் கலந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்ற உங்கள் அனைவருக்கும் எல்லா நலன்களும் வளங்களும் கிடைக்க வேண்டும் என்று பிரார்த்திக்கின்றோம். தத்துவங்களில் நம்முடைய இந்திய தத்துவங்கள் மிக உயர்வானது. பல மாநிலங்களில் பல சமயங்களில் தத்துவங்கள் பேசப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. அதில் நம்முடைய சைவத்தில் 3 விதமாக 36 தத்துவங்களை பிரிக்கிறார்கள். ஆன்ம தத்துவம், வித்யா தத்துவம், சிவ தத்துவம் என்று பேசப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. இதில் சிவதத்துவம் 5, இது சுத்த வித்தை, ஈஸ்வரம், சாதாக்கியம், விந்து, நாதம் என்று சிவதத்துவங்கள் பேசப்படுகிறது. அறிவு குறைவுற்று செயல் மிகுதல், இது சுத்த வித்தை. அறிவில் பெருகியும் செயல் குறைவுமாக இருப்பது ஈஸ்வரம். அறிவும் செயலும் சமமாக இருப்பது ஈக்குவல், சாதாக்கியம். சக்தி வியாபனம் இருப்பது பிந்து. சிவத்தோடு ஒன்றுபடுதல் நாதம். இந்த தத்துவங்கள் சிவ தத்துவமாக சொல்லப்படுகிறது. மற்ற சமயங்களில் 25 தத்துவங்களோட வைணவர்கள் அதை நிறுத்தி கொள்வார்கள். ஆனால் நம்முடைய சைவ சித்தாந்தத்தில் 36 தத்துவங்களாக பேசப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. திருமந்திரத்திலே ஆதியோடு அந்தமில்லாத பராபரம், போதமது ஆக புணரும் பராபரை, சோதி அதனில் பரந்தோன்ற தோன்றுமாம், தீதில் பறை அதன்பால் திகழ்நாதமே என்று. ஆன்ம தத்துவம் இது பஞ்சபூதங்கள். இது நிலம், வான், காற்று, நீர், நெருப்பு, இந்த 5 பஞ்சபூதங்கள். சூட்ச்ம பூதங்களாக 5 ஐம்பொறிகள், செயல் உறுப்புகள், உபகரணங்கள். இந்த இதை ஆன்ம தத்துவம் என்று பேசப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. வித்யா தத்துவம் காலம், நியதி, கலை, வித்தை, அராகம். இந்த தத்துவங்கள் வித்யா தத்துவமாக சொல்லப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. இது நம்முடைய மிக அற்புதமாக சொல்கிறார் குமரகுருபரரும். இந்த தத்துவ முறைமைகளை எளிய முறையாக ஒரு பாடல் மூலமாக அதை விளக்குகிறார். திருமந்திரத்தில் இந்தியம் அந்த கரணம் இவை உயிர் வந்தன சூக்குமம் உடலன்று மான் அது தந்திடம் ஐவித்தை ஆற்றல் பொருளனும் முந்து குலம் மண்ணும் ஆறாறு முடிவிலே 36 தத்துவங்களை நம்முடைய சைவம் பேசுகிறது. இவர்கள் மற்றைய வெளிநாட்டு சமயங்கள் சமய தத்துவ நிலையிலே இவைகளை பற்றி எப்படி சிந்தித்திருக்கிறார்கள் என்பது தெரிய வரும். 4 நாட்கள் நடைபெறுகின்ற இந்த மாநாடு நம்முடைய சமயத்தில் எது தொட்டாலும் அது தத்துவமாகத்தான் பேசப்படுகிறது. சாதாரணமாக நம்ம திருமால் பிரம்மன் அடிமுடி தேடியது வரலாறு என்று பேசுகின்றோம். ஆனால் அதனுடைய இறைவனை கல்வி மூலமாக நான் இவ்வளோ படித்திருக்கிறேன், அதனால் எனக்கு கடவுள் வந்து காட்சி கொடுக்க வேண்டும் என்று சொன்னால் அதற்காக அவர் ஆணவத்தின் காரணமாக வந்து இறங்கி வரமாட்டார். ஏனென்றால் கல்விக்கு அதிபதி சரஸ்வதி, அவருடைய மனைவி கணவன் பிரம்மதேவன். பிரம்மதேவனாலும் காண முடியாது, இதற்கு கல்வியினால் காண முடியாது என்பது. அதே போன்று திருமால், நான் பணம் இத்தனை கோடி கொடுக்குறேன், எனக்கு கடவுள் எனக்கு கைக்கூலியாக இருக்க வேண்டும் என்று சொன்னால் கடவுள் அதற்காக இறங்கி பெற மாட்டார். ஆனால் செல்வத்தினுடைய அதிபதி திருமகள், அவருடைய கணவன் திருமால், அதனால் திருமாலாலும் காண முடியவில்லை. இது ஒரு தத்துவ நிலையிலே இருக்கிறார். அதான் இந்த தத்துவங்கள் ஒரு நிலை வரைக்கும் தான். அந்த தத்துவங்களையே நினைத்து கொண்டு நாம் இருக்கக்கூடாது என்று எங்களுடைய ஆதி பரமாச்சாரியார் தத்துவங்கள் எண்ணி தலையடித்துக் கொள்ளாது என்று. ஆனால் படிநிலையில் இவைகளெல்லாம் இருக்க வரும். ஏன்னா இப்போ நம்ம இப்போ யூனிவர்சிட்டிக்கு வரணும்னா நேரடியாக வந்து வகுப்பில் கலந்துட்டோம்னா என்னன்னு தெரியாது. ஆனால் கீழே உள்ள பள்ளி ஒவ்வொரு படிப்புகளாக முடித்து கொண்டு மேல் வந்தால்தான் அந்த நிலையை உணர முடியும். அதே போன்று தான் தத்துவம் என்பது நமக்கு பேசப்படுகிறது. ஒரு குறிப்பிட்ட ஒரு எல்லைக்கு செல்ல வேண்டுமேயானால் அதற்குரிய பயணத்திற்கு வேண்டிய உபகரணங்களாக இருக்கின்றது. கார் முதலீடுகளை கொண்டு அதுபோல் இருட்டை கடந்து வருவதற்கு ஒரு வெளிச்சம் கொடுக்கின்ற டார்ச் லைட் கொண்டு இந்த தத்துவங்கள் ஒரு எல்லை வரைக்கும் அது அதே இருக்கும். கடைசி வரைக்கும் எல்லாம் தத்துவங்களை நிலைத்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றன. அப்படித்தான் நம்முடைய சமயம், இந்த சைவ சமயம் இதை பற்றி பேசப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. ஆனால் சமயம் இல்லாத நிலையிலேயும் கூட தத்துவங்களை பற்றி மற்ற நிலைகளில் பேசப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. அதனால் இந்த தத்துவத்துறை மூலமாக ஒரு கோயில் அமைப்பு, நாடு அமைப்பு, ஒரு குடும்ப அமைப்பு முதலானவைகள் கூட பேசப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. நம்முடைய சமயங்களில் ஆகமம் என்று சொல்லினால் அந்த ஆகமத்தின் மூலமாக நமக்கு கமம் மேலிருந்து வந்தது என்று அதை சொல்லுகிறோம். அதே போன்று வேதங்களிலேயும் இந்த தத்துவங்கள் பேசப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. அது கலை இருக்கிறது. கலைன்னு சொன்னோன்னு வச்சுங்க, அது பஞ்ச கலைகள்: நிவர்த்தி கலா, பிரதிஷ்டா கலா, வித்யா கலா, சாந்தி கலா, சாந்தி அதிதி கலா. இப்போ எளிமையாக சொல்லணும்னா, இப்போ பசிக்கிறது அப்படின்னு நினச்சோம்னா அதுக்கு என்ன பண்ணலாம்? சாப்பிட்ணும். அது சாப்பிட்ணுன்னா உடனே நினச்ச உடனே சாப்பிட முடியுமா? முதல்ல இலை போடுறோம், அப்புறம் அதில் கூட்டு பொரியல் இது போன்ற பதார்த்தங்கள் வைக்கிறோம், சாதம் வைக்கிறோம். அதை ஒவ்வொன்றோடு கலந்து சாப்பிடுகிறோம். சாப்பிட்ட பிறகு என்ன வருகிறது? கொஞ்சம் வயிறு நிறைந்த பிறகு ஒரு தூக்கம் வருது. தூக்கம் வந்த பிறகு ஆழ்ந்த தூக்கத்துக்கு போயிடுறாங்க. இதுதான் ஒரு சாந்திகளா, சாந்தி அதிதிகளா. நிவர்த்தி அப்படின்னா பசிக்கு ஒரு நிவர்த்தி வேணும், அது உணவு. இதுதான் தத்துவம் கிடையாது. ஒரு எளிய தத்துவங்களை பற்றி நம்முடைய சமயங்கள் மிக விரிவாக பேசப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. இந்த 36 தத்துவங்களுக்கு பல மாநாடுகள் நடத்த வேண்டும். அப்படி மிக நம்முடைய ஆயுதத்தில் மகாவித்வான் தண்டபாணி தேசிகர், அருணவடிவேல் முதலியார் இவர்களை கொண்டு ஆய்வு செய்து ஒரு நூலாக வெளியிட்டிருக்கிறோம். அந்த வகையில் தத்துவங்கள் பற்றி இந்த தத்துவத்துறை மூலமாக நம்முடைய தத்துவத்துறை தலைவர் திருமால் அவர்கள் இங்கே வந்து அவர்கள் அழைத்த போது நமக்கும் இந்த தமிழ் மாத வழிபாடுகள் இருக்கிறது, இருந்தாலும் வர வேண்டும். ஏனென்றால் இந்த பல்கலைக்கழகத்தில் தான் நான் இங்கே முனைவர் பட்டத்திற்கு ஆய்வு செய்து பெற்றது. நான் ரெகுலர் ஸ்டூடெண்டாக இருந்த போதும் கூட அப்போது இருந்த கவர்னர் பாத்திமா பிவி அவர்கள் சிண்டிகேட்டில் எனக்காக தனி ஒரு உத்தரவை பிறப்பித்தார்கள். ஒரு சமய தலைவராக இருக்கின்றவர்கள் இதில் சேர்வதனால் மாதம் ஒரு முறை வந்து அட்டண்டன்ஸ் போட்டால் போதும், தேர்வுக்கு வந்தால் போதும்னு சொல்லி சிண்டிகேட்டில் பாஸ் பண்ணி கொடுத்தார்கள் இந்த பல்கலைக்கழகத்தில். அதனால் இந்த பல்கலைக்கழகத்தில் எல்லா நாடுகள் மாநிலங்களிலிருந்து வருகை தந்திருப்பதும் இந்திய தத்துவ துறையின் மூலமாக இந்த அண்ணாமலை பல்கலைக்கழக தத்துவத்துறை இணைந்து இந்த மாநாடை நடத்துவது சிறப்புக்குரியது. இதில் கலந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்ற உங்கள் அனைவருக்கும் எல்லா நலன்களும் வளங்களும் கிடைக்க வேண்டும். 4 நாட்கள் நடைபெறுகின்ற இந்த தத்துவ பிரச்சனைகளை பற்றி, ஆய்வு கட்டுரைகளை பற்றி பின்னர் நான் தெரிந்து கொள்வதற்கு ஒரு வகையாக ஏற்பாடு செய்து தருகிறேன் என்று சொன்னார்கள். அந்த வகையில் இவர்களுடைய பணி சிறக்க வேண்டும் என்று வாழ்த்தி நான் தொடர்ந்து பணியில் இருப்பதனால் அவரிடமே உன்னை சொன்னேன், இடையில் செல்வது நாங்கள் எப்போதும் நிகழ்வுக்கு ஒத்துக்கொண்டால் அது முழுமையாக இருப்பது தான் வழக்கம். நான் கால சூழ்நிலையின் காரணம் இன்றைக்கு எங்கள் ஆதினத்தில் குருபூஜை நடைபெறுகிறது. அதனால் அதற்காக நான் செல்ல வேண்டும் என்பதனால் உங்கள் அனைவருக்கும் நமது நல்வாழ்த்துக்களை தெரிவித்து இந்த மாநாடு சிறப்பாக நடைபெற வேண்டும் என்று ஆசி கூறி நிறைவு செய்கின்றேன்.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. We are pleased to announce the release of the abstract titled Diversity of Indian Culture, which provides a concise yet impactful overview of our latest work. It's our commitment to advancing knowledge and fostering professional dialogue. We invite Swami Tharumai Adinam 27th Guru Mahasanithanam to engage further with the presented work. And first copy will be received by Professor T. Arut Selvi, then Professor Chidambaram Mishra, and Professor Paneer Selvan, General Secretary of IPC.
எடுத்து அப்படியே புக்ஸோட புக் காமிப்பாங்க. அதே போல் புத்தோட கிருத்துக்கு இருக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு எழுதி வச்சுட்டாங்க. எடுத்து கொடுத்துருங்க அவங்கள்ட்ட. சரிங்களா? எடுத்து வாங்கிக்கங்க. வாங்கிக்கோங்க. இல்லை ஓகேவா? ஓகேங்களா? ஓகே ஓகே சார். ஓகே நான் போகணும். என்ன பாஸ் பண்ணுவேன் சார். கூப்பிட்றாங்க.
Thank you one and all. Now I invite Professor T. Arun Selvi, Member Syndicate and Member of the Vice Chancellor Convener Committee, Annamalai University, to deliver the inaugural address.
வாங்கிக்கலாம். சரி 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 சரி.
குரு
குருவருளாலும் திருவருளாலும் அண்ணாமலை பல்கலைக்கழகத்தின் தத்துவவியல் துறை மிகச் சிறப்பாக தொடங்கியிருக்கின்ற 98 மற்றும் 99வது அமர்வுகளுக்கான இந்திய தத்துவவியல் மாநாட்டிற்கு வருகை தந்திருக்கின்ற ஆண்டோர்களுக்கும் சான்றோர்களுக்கும் அறிஞர்களுக்கும் பேராசிரியர்களுக்கும் பங்கேற்பாளர்களுக்கும் மாணவர்களுக்கும் முதற்கண் என் அன்பான வணக்கத்தை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கின்றேன். Esteemed Chief Guest, 27th Guru Maha Sanidhanam தர்மி ஆலயம் ஸ்ரீலஸ்ரீ கைலை மாசிலாமணி தேசிய பரமாச்சாரிய சுவாமிகள் அவர்களை வணங்கி எனது மரியாதையை அவர் பொறுப்பாளர்களில் சமர்ப்பிக்கின்றேன். Good morning to all the dignitaries who are on the dais and off the dais, respected and learned professors, Professor S. Panneerselvam, Professor Kusum J, our registrar, Dr. Prakash, Professor William Sweet, Professor Sachidanand Mishra, Professor Vijay Rani, Dr. J. Tirumal, deans of various faculties, heads of the departments, professors, research scholars, students and participants. It is both honor and privilege to stand before you today as we gather for the 98th and 99th joint sessions of the Indian Philosophical Congress 2024. I would like to begin my speech with a quote of Marcus Garvey: "A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin and culture is like tree without roots." Yes, we have gathered here to trace our past history. By tracing our origin and culture, we are tracing our roots, as Marcus Garvey said. As we explore our focal theme, diversity of Indian culture, we embark on a profound journey into a rich tapestry that forms the essence of our nation. Today, we celebrate this diversity not only as a characteristics of our nation, but as a fundamental strength that defines us as a people. Throughout the history, India has been a melting pot of ideas and beliefs. Our ancient texts resonate with dialogues between differing perspectives, embodying the spirit of inclusivity that is deeply rooted in our philosophical traditions. Culture is an umbrella term. It covers so many subjects. We can see the presence of culture in our religions, rituals, languages, food habits, dresses, music, stories, myths, and proverbs. Through proverbs, we can understand diverse cultures. There are 6 divisions in Hindu religion that are Saivam, Vaishnavam, Gaumaram, Ganapatiyam, Sauram, and Sartam. Apart from these divisions, we have Samana, Bautam, Sikyam, Asivam, etc. And we have Abrahamic religions like Christianity and Islam. India is a linguistic hotspot. These diverse religions and languages enrich our culture, enrich our dialogue, enrich our perspectives, enrich our philosophical system. As we engage this theme of diversity, let us reflect on how these varied cultural expressions enrich our philosophical inquiries. How do different world views shape our understanding of existence? In what ways can we learn from the multitude of voices that echo within our society? These questions are crucial as we seek to understand not just what of our cultural diversity, but the why and how that underlie our interactions. The richness of Indian culture is not merely an academic subject. It has practical implications for our everyday lives. In a world increasingly polarized by conflicts and misunderstandings, our ability to appreciate and celebrate diversity offers pathway toward harmony. By fostering a culture of respect and dialogue, we can create environments where varied perspectives coexist, paving the way for collaborative solutions to the challenges we face. During the sessions, I encourage each of you to share your insights and experiences. Let us engage in meaningful discussions that highlight the interconnections between the diverse traditions and contemporary issues. This gathering is an opportunity to learn from one another and to reaffirm our commitment through a philosophy that embraces plurality. My best wishes to all the presenters and participants. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam, for gracing this occasion. Your presence is highly appreciated. The theme of this IPC is central to all our discussions today. To introduce this spiritual theme, we have with us Professor S. Panneerselvam, General Secretary of IPC. Please join me in welcoming him to the podium.
Most revered and respected Dharmayadinam 27th Guru Mahasanidhanam, who delivered the Benedictory address, and Professor T. Arutselvi, member VC Convener Committee and team, Professor Kushum Jain, the General President of this year IPC session, Professor M. Prakash, our Honorable Registrar of this University, our good friend Professor William Sweet, St. Francis Xavier University, Nova Scotia, Canada, who will be delivering the keynote address, and our good friend Professor Shashanand Mishraji, the Member Secretary of Indian Council of Philosophical Research, Professor Vijayarani, the Dean Faculty of Arts, Professor J. Thirumal, my good friend and organizing secretary of this 98th and 99th session of IPC, and the colleagues of this department, honorable office bearers of IPC, our chairman, officiating chairman of IPC, Professor S.K. Singh, and dear participants and friends. At the outset, we are grateful to the University of Annamalai for coming forward to host the 98th and 99th session of IPC. I am glad to say that nearly 375 delegates have registered for this conference, and there are many foreign delegates who have come from different parts of the world. Of course, Professor William Sweet from Canada, then from Malaysia we have Professor Ravichandra Murthy, Professor Silva, and Professor Sajid, and then from Israel we have Professor Daniel, and from US we have our friend Satya Pradhan, and many others who have come all the way from the different parts of the country. As you know, the theme which we have chosen for this year's conference is diversity of Indian culture, or plurality of Indian culture, whatever you call it. But to say diversity of Indian culture, it has got a special significance. Because every year, of course, the IPC chooses a particular theme. In the past, we had themes like the holistic way of life and living, then Indian identity and cultural continuity. Then last year we had the topic Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and of course this year diversity of Indian culture. And this topic this year was chosen by our late chairman of IPC and the late chairman of ICPR, Professor S.R. Bhatt, who is no more with us, and who has really encouraged us to have a seminar, to have a conference in Annamalai University. And this conference has a special features, I should say, because the theme that is chosen is well discussed among scholars of India and abroad, and Indian identity and the diversity of Indian culture has a special role to play in the people, the values which they inherit from the past, the tradition, the modernity, the methods of living, everything is included under the banner of culture. And tradition, my teacher Professor S.R. Bhatt always used to say that Indian culture has two positive points. That is, it accommodates both tradition as well as modernity. It will not reject the modernity, but at the same time it accommodates the modernity. Because tradition, Professor S.R. Bhatt would say, can be understood in two ways. One is, one can say that tradition, Indian culture, which has got a very long tradition, has two aspects. The nucleus aspect, or what we call the core element of the culture, and the periphery of the culture. The core element can never be changed, but the periphery can always take change. There is always a chance for us to change our way of living. There can be some modifications with our way of living, but the core element can never be sacrificed. India being a multicultural society, a multi-religious society, it celebrates all different cultures. In fact, in Indian context, I would say that Indian culture accommodates everything, cosmic as well as acosmic. That is a special way of understanding Indian culture. In fact, one can say it represents the holistic view of life. So this means both animate and inanimate are included in our culture. Culture does not speak about only human being, but it also accommodates the ecological aspects of the society. That is the reason why in Indian tradition we are not for the anthropocentric ethics or anthropocentric culture, but we are always concerned about the cosmic notion of a culture. In this way, one can say Indian culture is something unique in its approach. And also, with one more point I conclude, our Professor S.R. Bhatt used to say, in Western culture, there is always the question of I and you. For example, many of us know that Martin Buber has talked about I and thou. But with regard to Indian culture, Professor Bhatt used to say that the question of I or you will not arise in the case of Indian culture. He says it is we. So everybody, it talks about the inclusive nature of Indian approach or Indian way of understanding culture. So this year we have this chosen, and there are many interesting papers which scholars have submitted for discussion, and I am sure that we will have a very good feast. This is a very important occasion for us to celebrate the notion of Indian culture, because the culture in Indian aspect has got a lot of modification or certain changes. That's why I said the life world, it represents the life world of being and non-being. So in this way one can say that diversity of Indian culture has a special contribution to make for the world culture. And at this juncture, I was as a Secretary, General Secretary of IPC, we would like to thank our Honorable Madam Kushum Jain for kindly accepting our invitation to be the General President of this session. In fact, when Professor S.R. Bhatt was with us as the Chairman of IPC, he has suggested our name, and unfortunately he is not with us today. But we are very happy that Madam has accepted our invitation and she is here. And also, we are very grateful to our good friend Professor Chidambaram, who has been a great supporter of IPC. In fact, for the past few years, ever since I am associated with IPC culture, in fact, he coming from Canada, which is always known as a multicultural society, he has contributed substantially for understanding the plurality of culture or diversity of culture. And when we approached him to deliver this keynote address, he was very kind enough to accept our invitation. And day yesterday he was in London, and yesterday he has come to Chennai and he is with us, and he will be with us for a few more days. So it is a great opportunity to learn from our friends like Professor Srivari, Kushum Jain, or Professor William Sweet. So I am grateful to you for your kind presence and participation. I want every participant to enjoy this atmosphere, because this is a place of Lord Nataraja, and it will be a great matter of joy to visit the Lord Nataraja temple and have the blessings of Lord Nataraja. And with these few words, I once again thank you for your kind presence and participation, and I am sure that you will enjoy this seminar and also you will enjoy our South Indian food. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. The President's address holds immense importance, setting the tone for the Indian Philosophical Congress. I now invite Professor Kusum Jain, the General President of IPC for the 98 and 99 session 2024 to deliver her presidential address.
With permission of the chair, my apologies to Madam Kusum Jain, because when I am doing my welcome address, I forget it. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening and namaskar. I extend my pranam to Guru Maharaj, who has left, and Professor Vijay Kumari, and Professor T. R. Srivari. Is it the right pronunciation? Okay. Yeah. Professor Vijay Kumari, Professor M. Prakash, Professor Sachidanand Mishra, Professor Thiruvalli, Professor Mahanta, Professor towards the end, Professor Mao, Professor Anand Mishra, Professor Padi, and Swami Hariprasad ji, and Professor William Sweet, who happens to be my Guru Bhai, because we did our PhD under the same supervisor, Professor Leslie Ardman in Canada, University of Ottawa. So I saved him for the last, towards the end. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to address this gathering of distinguished scholars, my esteemed colleagues, and most importantly, the budding philosophers, the research scholars, the young teachers, and the students, because you are the one who are going to carry the torch further. The focal theme of this conference, diversity of Indian culture, is more than a postulate or axiom of Indian social structure. It is a lived reality experienced by millions of Indians for centuries. Since ancient times, India has been a abode of myriad languages and scripts, religions, philosophical systems, art forms, socio-political economic traditions, geographical regions, historical heritage and influences, ethnic identities, cuisines, and religious cultural festivals. As one of the oldest cultures in the world, India had an extraordinarily developed, rich urban civilization even during Bronze Age. The Indus Valley civilization, generally known as Harappan civilization, dates back to 3300 BC to 1300 BC. In its long historical journey, Indian culture enriched itself with varied internal and external influences, including waves of invasions, emergence of new religions, and even Western colonialism. Its capacity to absorb and adapt to new elements and transform them creatively for enhancing its own development and collective strength has made India a land of profound diversity. Its geographical diversity has played a significant role in shaping distinct cultural practices, customs, traditions, languages, and dialects. Thanks to snow-capped mountain range of Himalayas to Western Ghats, as well as vast plains like Indo-Gangetic, along with Deccan Plateau and tropical beaches of Kerala, arid deserts of the west, and the wettest area of the northeast, India can boast of enormous variety of climates and ecosystems. It is considered one of the 17 mega diverse countries of the world, having around 8% of all recorded species, over 45,000 plants, and 91,000 animal species. This variety has immensely influenced diversity and growth of Indian cultural tradition. Friends, we all know India has an amazing linguistic diversity. It is home to around 121 languages, comprising 22 officially recognized languages and over 19,500 dialects is spoken in different regions, states or areas. It is a commonplace saying in Rajasthan that at every 50 miles, the dialect, food, clothing and rituals change in India. The languages spoken by Indian people can roughly be divided into 4 families: Austric, which includes Santhal, Munda, Ho; Dravidian, which includes Telugu, Tamil, Kannada, Malayalam; Sino-Tibetan, which includes Sikkim and Bodo; and Indo-European, which includes Hindi, Punjabi, Sindhi, Marathi, Bengali, etc. Due to this linguistic diversity, it is said that India is a spectacle of museum of tongues. This multiplicity of languages not only reflects pluralistic character of Indian society, but also facilitates its people to express their unique identities, creating an unparalleled rich tapestry of communication and literary tradition. It forms a vital aspect of its centuries of cultural heritage. The Indian Constitution recognizes this linguistic diversity and ensures the protection, promotion, and development of linguistic minorities. Religious diversity is another strong dimension of Indian culture. India is birthplace of some of the major religions, including Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. Alongside, it also provides home to some outside religions such as Islam, Christianity, Zoroastrianism, and Judaism. Indian philosophical tradition believes that each of these spiritual streams offers a unique perspective on life, ethics, and the cosmos, and enriches our world. The coexistence of temples, mosques, churches, gurudwaras in close proximities is a strong testament of deep-rooted religious generosity and tolerance of Indian cultural ethos. Alongside these diversities, India exhibits exceptionally rich diversity through its art forms, music, dance, and literature. It has impressive variety of classical dance forms such as Kathak, Bharatanatyam, Kathakali, Odissi, Kuchipudi, Manipuri, etc. While folk dances of every region create a rainbow of every color in its social, religious, and family events and festivals. Same is the case with the various streams of its classical and folk music. An enormous variety of architectural and painting traditions have endowed India with extraordinary monuments, buildings, and art galleries exhibiting diversity in its finest form. Another dimension of diversity of Indian culture is strongly reflected in its clothing and culinary. Traditionally, clothing in India varies from region to region, immensely influenced by local geography, culture, and climatic conditions. The same is true for its culinary culture. India can easily boast of the highest variety of food at global level. The diverse and distinctive taste of its food items varies according to specific region, religion, cultures, festivals, and different occasions. Obviously, India appears to be a living laboratory of diversity. The foundation of this diversity lies in its philosophical ethos. As one of the oldest and richest traditions, Indian philosophy exhibits amazing variety of conceptual frameworks to understand and explain the nature of the cosmos and man's relationship with it. Each of these offer unique perspectives on life, reality, and human condition. From Vedas, Upanishads, and Gita to 9 classical philosophical systems, namely Nyaya, Vaisheshik, Sankhya, Yoga, Mimamsa, Vedanta, Jain, Bauddha, and Charvak, one can find every variety and shade of conceptual framework pertaining to metaphysics, epistemology, and ethics. There is hardly any issue in contemporary philosophical discourse which is not addressed in Indian philosophical tradition. In its fold, it encompasses monism, dualism, pluralism, realism, extreme materialism, extreme idealism, theism, atheism, pantheism, nihilism, and numerous subsystems of each of these. Interestingly, philosophical systems representing these fundamentally diverse perspectives constantly engage themselves in constructive dialogue and debate with other systems, which help them grow and develop a broader vision of the cosmic reality. Healthy acceptance of differences and diversity has been a key characteristic of Indian philosophical outlook, and it has made Indian society highly heterogeneous and in all dimensions of its cultural development. As a result, India can be called a land which pulsates with diversity. Diversity is a defining feature of its cultural ethos. Diversity is not tolerated in India. Rather, it is celebrated as foundational principle of its socio-cultural structure. Friends, this brief sketch identifies major elements of diversity embedded in Indian cultural tradition. As said earlier, diversity in India is not merely an abstract idea. It is lived reality of millions of people for thousands of years. It is valued and preserved since ancient times with great effort and care. But the very same diversities which are highly glorified in the development of Indian culture are posing serious challenges in contemporary times. Religious and communal tensions, linguistic disputes, regional and economic disparities, separatist movements are some of the problems which are believed to be rooted in diversified culture of modern India. The big question is how to handle these issues, how to deal with the problems arising due to various kinds of diversities embedded in Indian cultural ethos. Before responding to these questions, as philosophers we need to understand the nature of this diversified cultural reality. Our response will largely depend on how we perceive diversity in any cultural context. There may be many conceptual frameworks to understand and explain this phenomena of diversity, but keeping the limitations of time, let us explore briefly a few of these conceptual frameworks to appreciate why a deep philosophical analysis is necessary for dealing with this issue. Let us take 4 of these perspectives to understand the character of diversity in the Indian context. These are cultural pluralism, multiculturalism, cultural relativism, and cosmopolitanism. These perspectives may look quite similar, but have very fine differences and distinctions which result in far-reaching implications for dealing with the cultural diversity. Cultural pluralism maintains that many different cultural, religious, linguistic, regional identities can coexist peacefully in a society and can still retain their distinctiveness. It assumes a social structure based on mutual respect. Multiculturalism takes pluralism a step further. It not only recognizes diversity as a valuable element, but also promotes and proactively ensures protection and equity for marginalized groups. In modernist approach, individual cultures are viewed as stable entities that coexist within a shared universal moral, social and legal framework. The postmodernist critique of modern multiculturalism blames multiculturalism for imposing a homogenizing framework that marginalizes cultural distinctiveness. It emphasizes dynamic, hybrid, fluid, constructed and continuously evolving nature of cultural identities. Thinkers like Jacques Derrida and Michael Foucault advocate for deconstruction of power relations embedded in cultural narratives. Cultural relativism emphasizes on independent, autonomous status of every cultural entity, rejects ethnocentrism and advocates for viewing cultural practices from the perspective of the culture in which they exist. In its extreme form, it rejects the idea of any universal moral or social framework within which right or wrong of any action or cultural practice can be determined objectively, irrespective of the specific culture in question. Another alternate perspective for viewing this diversity is provided by cosmopolitanism. It emphasizes the idea of global citizenship and universal interconnectedness transcending the cultural, national, ethnic or religious boundaries. It recognizes the importance of diverse worldviews, but simultaneously also advocates for a global framework of shared values. It encourages cross-cultural communication and dialogue for fostering mutual respect and collaboration among people of different cultural backgrounds, and thus tries to balance unique identity of individual cultures with global ethos and universalism. Besides these conceptual frameworks, there are some other perspectives such as essentialist perspective, which emphasizes on identifying core values of a culture which can bind diversities. Alternatively, The constructive perspective views diversity as a social construct which is shaped by historical, political, and economic factors. Influenced by Marxist and post-colonial theories, conflict theory perceives diversity as a site of power struggle, primarily used for political gain, leading to divisions rather than unity. Now the big question is, how should we analyze and understand diversity of Indian culture? In contemporary scenario, which conceptual framework can provide better solutions to meet the challenges emerging from elements of diversity in Indian social structure? We have seen that cultural pluralism and multiculturalism in their refined forms have always pervaded Indian collective consciousness. Cultural relativism in its extreme form, with absolute subjectivism and individualism, did not gain wide acceptability in India because of the potential dangers of disintegration of the society into small, self-contained, closed fragments. Indian philosophical tradition appears to have some affinity with cosmopolitanism because within a broad framework of basic ethical values, it not only accepts but also supports and promotes extremely diversified worldviews. Its oldest philosophical text unequivocally declares Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. Truth is one, sages call it by many means. This dictum is a strong manifestation of India's pluralistic ethos and inclusive approach in dealing with various diversities. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, seeing the whole world as one family, brings it closer to cosmopolitanism. The Jain concept of Anekantvad highlights the complex, multifaceted character of the reality and emphasizes the need to have multiple perspectives for proper understanding of the truth. This theory provides philosophical basis for tolerance and respect for diverse viewpoints and encourages coexistence of multiple narratives relative to a specific context. The Buddhist concept of interdependence, Pratyut Samarpar, fosters harmony by highlighting deep interconnectedness of varied identities and practices. The Advaitic notion that this whole universe is manifestation of one consciousness, Brahman, is the best example of perceiving underlying unity in all apparent diversities. Bhagavad Gita, the epitome of Indian spirituality, convincingly explains how diverse paths of knowledge, action and devotion, jnana, karma and bhakti, may lead to the same destination without any conflict. This pluralistic outlook extends to every facet of Indian culture, from spirituality to governance. Thesis of Sarva Dharma Sambhav and practice of Ganga Jamni Tehzeeb has given India many syncretic traditions such as Sufism and Bhakti movements which drew from Vedanta, Islam and folk traditions simultaneously. It is sufficiently clear that Indian philosophical tradition, which provides foundation and character to all dimensions of Indian culture, perceives diversity as a value rather than a hindrance for a harmonious, peaceful society. For centuries, guided by the basic spirit of its philosophical tradition, India has always retained its identity as a land of myriad cultures, languages, religions, art forms and socio-economic political structures. Diversity is interwoven in the very fabric of this nation's character. Diversity was never seen as a cause of division, but was valued as a source of enrichment. Centuries-old lived experience of various kinds of diversities helped India to emerge as a unique model of a society where, despite innumerable differences, a profound fundamental unity could be attained and maintained. Hence, diversity was seen not as a threat, but as an opportunity for comprehensive growth, nourishment and development of the society as a whole. Beauty and strength of diversity always enhanced its cultural vibrancy. But this beautiful picture of Indian nation is facing serious challenges in contemporary times. Clashes and conflicts on the grounds of religion, language, ethnic identity, gender, group antagonism, socio-economic disparity, and many kinds of separatist movements are threatening to destroy this spectacular web of unity and diversity. The very foundation and essential fabric of Indian culture is challenged, and there is an urgency to respond to this challenge. As responsible academicians and members of intelligentsia of this nation, we are expected to address this issue with profound seriousness. Here I would like to refer to two prevalent models which can be used for understanding and dealing with diversities in a society. And these are very important. The first one is known as melting pot model and the other is mosaic model. The melting pot metaphor aspires for a society where diverse cultural streams and identities are blended together to form a single unified culture. It advocates assimilation and expects individuals to adopt to wage of dominant culture. Differences among cultural groups are mandatorily minimized in favor of a shared uniform identity. It emphasizes homogeneity over heterogeneity and unity over diversity. It seeks to promote common national identity by systematically pressurizing individuals and groups to abandon their distinctive cultural traits and identities. United States of America is often being referred to as the representative state to adopt this model. The second mosaic model refers to a system in which, like a mosaic, each diverse cultural group contributes its best in creating a broader social fabric and still maintains its unique identity. It advocates pluralism and multiculturalism and emphasizes on coexistence of various cultures without demanding assimilation. It views diversity as an asset which strengthens a society by bringing resilience and flexibility. It focuses on preserving cultural heritage and individual identity and therefore promotes inclusivity and mutual respect. This model is sometimes criticized for encouraging social fragmentation, which may disturb harmony and cohesiveness of a social structure. Both these models have their own merits and demerits. We can either choose one of these if we find that model appropriate for meeting the contemporary challenges emerging from diversities, or we can evolve a new model suitable for our conditions and specific circumstances. We may need a nuanced approach which includes the strengths of these models and mitigates their weaknesses. For example, in conformity with melting pot model, a shared set of values such as equality, freedom, justice, etc. can be developed to bestow unity, but simultaneously uniqueness of particular cultures must be protected to ensure both cohesion and diversity. Similarly, mutual understanding may be preferred over assimilation, and individual identities are not completely erased. Overemphasis both on uniformity and differences may be avoided so that a broad national culture can be developed which values and protects diverse perspectives while pursuing common goals. Keeping in view the evolving needs of population, societal demographics, and dynamic changes in value systems, efforts may be made to harmonize shared common goal approach of melting pot with celebration of differences of mosaic model. As a nation, we must strive to create an environment where diversity thrives without compromising unity, cohesion, and harmony, where diversity is cherished as treasure but is used not for fragmentation or disintegration but for enrichment of the societal whole. This will be the only way to maintain the legacy of India as timeless beacon of unity in diversity. Thank you so much for your attention. And towards the end, I would like to pay my heartfelt homage to Professor S.R. Bhatt, who strengthened IPC and helped its growth enormously in the last so many years. All of us see him as an ideal, and many of us see him as a father figure in philosophy world. And we pay my heartfelt, deep homage to his and remember him. And I think we will never forget his contribution to IPC. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, madam, for your valuable words. We are also graced by the presence of Professor M. Prakash, Registrar of Annamalai University, and also invite him to offer the Felicitation program.
So I also welcome the press media people. They have given more focus today's daily. So I thank and I welcome again. Thank you.
Most respected 27th Guru Maga Sanidhanam of Dharmaya Adinam, Professor Madam Arul Member Syndicate, Member Vice Chancellor Committee, Professor Paneerselvam, General Secretary of IPC, Professor Kusum Jain, General President of IPC for 98th and 99th session, Professor William Sweet from Canada, Professor Sasyananda Mishra, Member Secretary of ICPR, Dean Faculty of Arts, Dr. K. Vijayarani, Dr. M. Barani, Organizing Member, the Organizing Local Secretary, the key person who is responsible for organizing this mega event, Professor Dr. Thirmal, the office bearers of Indian Philosophical Congress, participants from different parts of the country and outside the country, male faculty, student friends, and persons from press and media. Good morning to all. The focal theme is diversity of Indian culture. There is diversity, everyone you know. There is diversity in religion, what we are following. There are like Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, Jains, everywhere. Then in what we speak, there is diversity. There are hundreds of languages, hundreds of dialects spoken in India. Then in what we eat, there is diversity. If we take in South India, meals or idli, dosa, pongal. If we go to North India, roti, chapati, poga. In the clothing, there is diversity. In South, we used to wear dhoti, shirts, saris. If you go to North India, salwar kameez, chudidar, and sherwani and all. Even in the festivals, there is diversity in Diwali, Pongal, Mahashivratri, Buddha Purnima, in many more festivals. Even though there is diversity in many aspects of our Indian culture, we are united by Indians. That is unity in diversity. I came to know that more than 300 participants are going to present the papers in these 4 days deliberations. I am confident that the scientific deliberations of these 4 days Indian Philosophical Congress will be fruitful and will be much more useful for the coming future. I take this opportunity to thank the organizers for giving me this chance. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your support and for honoring us with your presence. It's a privilege to welcome our distinguished and esteemed keynote speaker, Professor William Sweet, from St. Francis Xavier University, Canada. A renowned scholar, Professor Sweet will deliver the keynote address. It's an honor to have you here with us, sir.
Thank you very much, and good morning to you all. I'd like to thank many of the people who are involved in the organization of this conference, but first I want to express my gratitude for the presence of the 27th Guru who is here. This was certainly an important event for me, but I have to thank Madam Vice Chancellor, I have to thank the other dignitaries from Annamalai University, Professor Paneerselvam, General Secretary of the IPC, Professor Kusum Jain, who I've known for many years, who's the General President of this, Professor Mishra from the ICPR, Professor Thirmal, who is the head of the department, and the organizing local secretary for this event. It's an enormous work. I'd like to thank all of the members of the IPC board who are here with us. And I'd like to thank all of you as well for an opportunity to give this address, but also for an opportunity to learn from you. Because I think that philosophy is done best in an atmosphere not of just speaking, but of listening. And I think that there are many things that I can learn from you, both from the senior faculty and from the students. The theme of the conference, as you know, is the diversity of Indian culture. And the topic of my keynote address is philosophy's role in promoting the diversity of cultures. Now, diversity is important. It shows the breadth and depth of reality, a metaphysical question. It provides new perspectives and insights and lines of investigation, an epistemological issue. It leads to a more productive and inclusive society, which is an ethical and political issue. And of course, the recognition of diversity is essential to identity. to individual identity and to collective identity. Thus, the imperative need for the respect for diversity today. Now, there's a need for the recognition that different countries engage the issues of diversity in different ways, reflecting, I think, their own cultures and their own traditions. But this is a philosophy conference, and so more specifically, I think I want to speak a little bit on the value of philosophy in the diversity of cultures, and the value of diversity within the cultures themselves. Diversity suggests that there are borders and distinctions, yet there needs to be ways of communicating across borders and boundaries. This was the theme of the World Congress of Philosophy held in Rome back at the beginning of August this year. It was also the theme of the G7 philosophy group that presented a brief on behalf of philosophers from around the world to the G7 meeting in Italy a little bit earlier this year as well. A key way of thinking about communication across cultural, economic, social, political, technological borders is to be found in what is called today intercultural philosophy. Intercultural philosophy has an increasing presence in philosophy, and it bears not only on the recognition of diversity, but also at the same time the importance of not abandoning people to silos and to ghettos and to margins. It is interesting and revealing that some of the originators and key figures in intercultural philosophy are from India, and I will mention some of them in a moment. The tendency to divide philosophy by geography or cultural tradition is not new. For some time, particularly in university syllabi, but also in public research, we speak of Asian and African and Western philosophies, or we may speak of Indian philosophy, East Asian or South Asian philosophies, Chinese philosophy, Africana philosophy, Greek and Roman philosophy, and so on. We are confronted with all of this kind of diversity within philosophy. And commonly, however, it has been said that there are also important boundaries between them. These divisions are not, I think, insignificant. For some time, and still, some have thought of these different traditions as ways of dividing the discipline of philosophy, of emphasizing diverse, distinct, and different. Now, at one level, I think such divisions, such boundaries are inevitable. Philosophy is a product of culture. Philosophies arise within cultures. Culture has an impact on the form and character of philosophy. And the language, terminology, questions, and issues in a philosophy are almost always a response to matters and issues that arise within a culture. Indeed, culture defines philosophy. For example, we find that the conditions and boundaries of philosophy, what distinguishes philosophy from literature, science, religion, ideology, or whether it should be distinguished from these, may be different depending on the culture or language in which this discussion appears. It has then a cultural embeddedness within the boundaries of a culture. And sometimes that embeddedness may prevent philosophy from seeing or valuing what may be outside that culture of philosophy. Now, at one initial level, at least, philosophy occurs within cultural and national borders and boundaries. And it may reflect a distinct culture, and that culture may provide a lens. But does philosophy stay there? Should philosophy remain within these lenses, within these diversities? My answer to this question is no. That for philosophy to maintain its diversity, a diversity reflective of culture, intercultural philosophy is needed. Now you may ask, what exactly is intercultural philosophy? The term itself originates from about the 1990s, but I believe that it is rooted in an initial articulation that goes back to about a century before 1990. Intercultural philosophy is rooted in something that attempts to capture and develop insights in how to do philosophy in a pluralistic and diverse world. And it was called, I think in some places it's still called, comparative philosophy. Now the term comparative philosophy is associated with the work of the Indian philosopher Rajendranath Seal, and in turn with figures such as Srivari Radhakrishnan and P.T. Raju. In all of these authors, there's an emphasis on recognizing the importance of culture in philosophy and to philosophy, a recognition that has not always been the case. But also, it emphasizes an effort to give voice to, or to recover sometimes marginalized philosophies. And this is a problem, I think, very often in recent years. For Seal, I think, and later on others, comparative philosophy, or what I prefer to call intercultural philosophy, is something that in the past was a historical comparison of traditions. But in fact, the aim is more than simply making a historical connection, historical comparison. I think the aim is to illustrate and or lead to mutual engagement, and that it seeks to arrive at certain conclusions. In a short volume entitled Comparative Studies in Vaishnavism and Christianity of 1899, Seal says something of what it would be or what it would involve when we talk about comparative philosophy. He writes that, and I quote, "Historical comparison, such as I proposed here, implies that the objects compared are of coordinate rank and belong more or less to the same stage in the development of human culture. Thus, Seal holds that there can be genuine comparisons and interaction among traditions, and that such comparisons and engagements are positive. While the aim of these comparative studies is to show relationships and mutual exchange, in his particular case between Christianity and Vaishnavism, there is also an equality of traditions being compared. So for Seal, there is an outcome expected from engaging in this comparative activity. It is not simply comparison for its own sake, or the study of each on its own terms alone. And there's a suggestion of some kind of commensurability across traditions. Yet Seal does not provide us with the details of such a method, nor does he say specifically what exactly the result or the effect is to be. Now, I believe that we do get a clearer picture of what such a method is in another Indian philosopher, and I will briefly comment on him in a moment. But then another question. Is there an intercultural philosophy? Some might argue that the term intercultural philosophy or the term comparative philosophy is unnecessary or redundant. There is just philosophy. Now, I'm mildly sympathetic to this view in the following sense. Intercultural philosophy does not generally claim that there is a kind of content that is distinctive. So it's not like epistemology, metaphysics, intercultural philosophy like that. It doesn't deal with a specific content. I think that we can think of intercultural philosophy as philosophy that represents an intercultural approach, like an analytic philosophy, or a historical approach, or a phenomenological approach. Moreover, we can say that it is an approach that recognizes the cultural origins of philosophies and philosophical traditions, that also recognizes the differences and therefore the identities of traditions, that insists that there is an equality of tradition, and that holds that there is a value in preserving these traditions. So without defining what intercultural philosophy's content is, I think it's clear that it is appropriate to look at philosophy through the lens of culture. That is, what was called comparative philosophy, and what I prefer to talk about as intercultural philosophy. And there are different ways of doing this. That is, different ways of looking at philosophy through an intercultural lens. Now, I think if we're going to look for one model of such an intercultural philosophy, we need go no further than one of the founders of the IPC, and this is Srivari Radhakrishnan. For example, very early in his career, between 1908 and 1916, Radhakrishnan published some 11 or 12 articles. Some of them focused on ethics, some of them focused on issues that arose from his thesis on the ethics of the Vedanta. And they give us, I think, a method that is valuable to us today. Now, I'm sure that many of you are familiar with the work of this great figure. Let me just simply briefly flag some key characteristics of intercultural philosophy that I find in Radhakrishnan's writing of the period. An intercultural philosophy has a recognition first that philosophy is embedded in culture. Culture provides the context, the questions, the problems, and even the concepts and language of philosophical ideas. Second, intercultural philosophy has a recognition that philosophical discussion starts from where one is. One does not start by trying to find some kind of neutral or territory. Third, there is a need to articulate one's own presuppositions when one encounters different traditions, what one assumes in bringing to the conversation, and not just sort of listening to others. One needs to go to this self-examination first. But also, fourth, there has to be an attempt to understand the context and assumptions from where one's interlocutors are coming. Fifth, there needs to be a willingness to engage these interlocutors, that a dialogue, or as some authors say, a polylogue is possible. Sixth, I think one needs to seek ground that, if not common, is at least something that overlaps and allows for pursuing the discussion. And seventh, but not to underestimate or underemphasize areas of apparent disagreement or conflict, or to seek any areas of putative agreement alone. We need to acknowledge difference. We need to acknowledge diversity and to respect it. In short, an intercultural philosophy, it presents us both with a method of engaging in philosophy. It helps us to engage others of other cultures, and in illustration, we have the opportunities of looking at issues like ethics and political thought. What is the aim of such an approach, and of Radhakrishnan's approach in these early writings? First, it's certainly to state clearly and to add to the knowledge and understanding of his interlocutors. It was also to extend knowledge and to reach out through an encounter with another culture. In the process, Radhakrishnan asks his readers to think and to rethink their own presuppositions, their own understandings, and to be ready to change their views when they encounter some ideas of novelty. Now, how does this help us today when we reflect on the diversity of philosophical cultures, and more broadly on the diversity of culture? So in conclusion, I want to suggest 3 short points. First, we have to recognize the importance of diversity. For a culture to develop and grow, it needs to be open to other cultures. And so the need for a kind of intercultural approach offered by intercultural philosophy, I think, is something that calls us today. That when we speak about the diversity of Indian culture, when we speak about philosophical diversity, it does not simply mean respecting the other, it means opening oneself to the other. Thank you. Speech, I can talk about something or other. Like getting my photograph taken. This is a joyous occasion to see you all. I hope that my talk wasn't too disturbing. Professor James said, she said, I hope I haven't offended anybody. And I said, I hope you have. Because if you offend no one, then what have you said? Anyway, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, sir. We take a moment to pay homage to Professor S.R. Bhatt, a distinguished and eminent philosopher in the field of philosophy as well as a great Sanskritist. His contributions as the former head of the Department of Philosophy at the University of Delhi and former chairman of both ICPR and IPC will always be cherished. A floral tribute will now be offered in his honor.
Madam, one side, sir. Madam. Photo. Parabéns.
Thank you one and all. It's a privilege to welcome our distinguished and esteemed keynote speaker. To inspire us with his insight, we now invite Professor Chidambaram, Member Secretary of ICPR, to deliver the special address. Please join me in welcoming him.
Namaha Sabhabhyah Sabhapatibhyasya Namo Namaha. Honorable Swamiji, who was there here, Professor Paneerselvam ji, Professor Kusum Jain ji, Professor T. Arut Selvi ji, Professor Yam Prakash, Professor William Swift ji, Professor S.K. Singh, and Professor D.K. Mahanta sir, Professor Padhi, Professor Anand Mishra, Professor Srikala Nayyar, Professor Mao, and of the dais, very distinguished scholars, Swamiji, Professor Sampat Kumar ji, Professor Ven Krishnaiya ji, Professor Sanjay Kumar Shukla ji, and so many other scholars, and it will be hardly possible to name all of them. So please forgive me. I am taking all the names. Please consider that I have taken all the names. So this is indeed a matter of great pleasure to be here and to share my ideas. However, you may find something different, some different approach when I am considering, when I am talking about the theme of the seminar, theme of this conference, diversity of Indian culture. And actually, my way of thinking presents it like unity of Indian culture. So, when you are presenting the idea that diversity of Indian culture, I think in a different direction, that is unity of Indian culture. And here, when we begin with this idea, begin with this point, we have to think, we have to take the issues. When we are discussing about diversity of Indian culture, how to identify the culture, this is the one point. And secondly, how to identify the culture different from civilization. And in my opinion, when we say that India is a multicultural country, and more to say, when we use the term which is very famous in Hindi Bhashi Pranta states, Ganga Jamuni Tahzeeb, I find that these terms are somehow problematic. Problematic in the sense that when you are talking about the diversity of culture, you must be very much precise, very attentive to differentiate what is the culture and how it is different from civilization. And what happens many a times, because there are so many civilizations, we also try to make that there are so many cultures. Because it is hardly possible to differentiate between culture and civilization. And if you identify culture with civilization, there will be a great challenge. A book was written by Huntington, The Clash of Civilizations. Why there is a clash of civilization? Because everybody is willing to present his civilization and also identifying that civilization as his own culture, a specific culture. Therefore, this problem arises. And when we are talking about culture, we have to look into our text, what the term we have for this term culture. And actually, the term which is available to us, many a times that is avoided. The term is actually dharma. But I would like to warn everybody that this dharma cannot be translated as religion and it cannot be translated as duty also. But this dharma is something unique and it can be stated, Kritecha pratikartavyam esha dharma sanatana. When someone is helping you, you should also help others. That is the Sanatan Dharma. This is the culture from beginningless time. So you can see how to differentiate culture from civilization. You can see civilization, and many times we see that there are many different forms, there are many religious identities, there are so many different music forms, different dance forms, and we identify the culture with those things. I would like to suggest that these should not be identified with culture, rather these should be identified with civilization. And there could be so many civilizations with one culture. However, that culture cannot be having only one color. That must have so many colors. So when you are talking about Ganga Jamuni Tahzeeb, now we are going to organize Kumbh. Kumbh is being organized. We means our country. Kumbh is being organized in Allahabad. And you know, Allahabad, Prayagraj is actually the place where Ganga and Jamuna collide, amalgamate. And what happens when Ganga and Jamuna collide? When the river comes to Varanasi, now it is not called Ganga and Jamuna, it is called Ganga. And later on also it is called Ganga. So this is the point. And actually the people who are arguing and who argue for the sake of multicultural identity of India are actually trying to make a different claim to preserve, to claim that there is another identity. So religion is something different, but culture is something different. And culture should be understood in that way. In Vedas, we have one quote, and that is many times quoted. Ano bhadraha kratavo yantu vishwataha. Let noble thoughts come from all the sides. Why? Because we are aware of our limitations. We know that we cannot know everything. So let our window be opened so that other thoughts, other noble thoughts should come from other sides. And when these other thoughts come, their otherness goes away. Because you accept those thoughts. That is the idea. That is the point. Therefore, whenever you are talking about Hindu culture, Jain culture, Buddhist culture, Islamic culture, these you point out, but let us make it more wide. Now you can say that there is a Shakta culture, there is Shaiva culture, there is Vaishnava culture, and in Sanskrit there is a shloka. Antah Shakta Bahi Shaiva Sabha Madhye Cha Vaishnava. It shows clearly food habits. It is actually regarding food habits. Antah Shakta, in inner sense, they are Shakta, following the Shakta path. Nowadays also in the Kali temple, Bali is given, sacrifice is offered. In external, they appear to be Shaiva, followers of Shiva. And when they are sitting in the chamber, sitting with so many people, they present themselves as Vaishnava. So what is this? Actually, there are different food habits. There are so many different customs. Though there are so many dance forms, so many music forms, and in this way, if you are willing, and there are so many languages. In Hindi, there is a very famous quote. चार कोस पर बानी बदले चार कोस पर पानी. So when you are moving one course, this is 3 kilometers, make one course. So if you are moving 3 kilometers, the language is different. And when you are moving 12 kilometers, the water is different. So what will you say? That the cultural identity is different. If you see India from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from other places also, when a person sits to eat, there is a poem, there is a shloka, and it is stated so many times. Ahamannam, ahamannam, ahamannada. I am the food, and I am also the food eater. And it is taken everywhere. Take for example 5 Mahavratas which are propounded in yoga philosophy. These are very well acceptable to Buddhist philosophers. They are very well accepted by Jaina philosophers. This is called culture. I posed the question in the beginning, how to identify the culture? And philosophically speaking, I find there is one very peculiar example, and that example only philosophers can understand. Because in philosophy, there is a great discussion whether there is any soul different from body, whether there is any Atman different from body or not. If there is no Atman different from body, only body is there, then you have only civilization. And if there is Atman also, you have culture, not only civilization. So the point is this one, there could be a civilization without a culture, but there is no possibility of any culture without civilization. There is a possibility for the acceptance that there is body without soul, without Atman. But there is no possibility of acceptance of Atman without body, because that will not be perceptible, that will not be empirical, and so on. Therefore, in this way we can differentiate, we can understand civilization as well as culture. So how to understand this Indian civilization? What we point out as what appears actually many times, that Indian culture is diverse. Let me pose one question. All of you, I think, have witnessed rainbow, Indradhanush. So this Indradhanush, this rainbow, is one or many. Because in that rainbow there are so many colors. But because there are so many colors, do you call it many or do you call it one Indradhanush, one rainbow? Therefore, in the same way, I would like to suggest that when you are talking about Indian culture, it is actually like a rainbow where are many colors, but it is not different. This is one color, one culture, one identity, oneness. Therefore, this oneness is very much preserved in all these religious movements, all these philosophies also. Our philosophies are actually presented one after another, but they are not completely rejection of other philosophies. And when the earlier speaker, Professor Kusum Jain, has been discussing about Jnana, Karma, Bhakti, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. And any student of Indian culture is very much aware of how these issues are presented many places. It is presented as if Jnana Yoga is actually rejection of Karma Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is actually rejection of Jnana Yoga. But the fact is not. Fact is completely opposite. These are not rejections. Why these are not rejections? Because it is everywhere accepted. Whether you are taking Anekantavada of Jaina philosophy or Upaya Kaushalya of Buddhist philosophy. There is a very important concept in Buddhist philosophy which is called Upaya Kaushalya. Upaya Kaushalya is understood in the way that if Buddha is considered Mahabhishak, the great doctor, and the great doctor doesn't prescribe the same medicine to every patient. He examines, and after examination he prescribes different medicines. So in the same way there are different medicines for different persons. There are different margas, different ways for different persons. If you are satisfied with the idea that there is no soul at all, there is only body, the Charvakian way, okay. You may lead your life according to that. But when other philosophers are saying, and actually there is another point to note, that this Charvaka philosophy is also important in the sense that when earlier, when kings were ruling the country in their Mantri Mandal, group of ministers, the scholar who is the master of Charvaka philosophy was also appointed, Lokayatika. So, because you have to settle the matter according to this worldly affair. Worldly affair should be settled according to worldly rules. You need not think beyond this. That is the idea. And therefore, in Buddhism there are so many margas, so many paths. In the Jaina philosophy also so many. And all these present one idea that all other philosophies are also true, but our philosophy is truer. This is the Indian way of thinking. It is not the Indian way of thinking that your position is wrong, my position is completely okay. Rather, every philosopher, even Udayanacharya, gives this idea in Abhitattva Viveka. This same idea is propounded in Anekantavada. And when it is said, Ekam Sadvipra Baudha Vadanti, the same idea is there. So, Indian culture should not be understood as a diverse culture. It is not multi-culture, rather it is one culture having different shades of color. And that, if we remember, the unity of our country, unity of our culture will be preserved, and also we will be helping our country to develop in a good way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights. Today we honor the eminent scholar in the field of philosophy in Tamil Nadu, acknowledging their lifelong dedication to education and research. We also recognize the former heads of the Department of Philosophy, Annamalai University. First, I would like to call upon Dr. A. Appan Ramanujan, former head of the Department of Philosophy, Vivekananda College.
Dr. A. Appan Ramanujan is a stalwart in philosophy and an inspirational educator and philosopher. He exemplifies the harmonious blending of academic rigor and deep commitment to cultural and philosophical traditions. So he has, to his credit, 3 decades of teaching experience and alma mater of Annamalai University. His name was published in Outstanding People of 21st Century, published from London. So he was honored with the Vaishnava Bhushana Award, and he had affiliation with 10 universities, and he has published 6 books. He specializes in philosophy of science, Western philosophy, and Henry Bergson philosophy. So we are proud to honor Dr. A. Appan Ramanujan.
எடுத்து போங்க இல்லைண்ணே அண்ணே எடுத்து பண்ணுறது போங்க சால்வ் போடுறாங்க பார்த்துங்க.
Now I call upon Dr. S. Rajendran, former head of the Department of Philosophy, Annamalai University.
Dr. S. Rajendran, a proud alma mater of Annamalai University. He has 33 years of rich legacy of teaching experience He served as Dean Faculty of Arts, Annamalai University, and the ex-member syndicate, Tamil University, Tanjavur, and served as Head of the Department of Philosophy, Annamalai University. He specializes in Western philosophy, logic, and Indian philosophy, and he has published a book entitled The Concept of Integral Yoga according to Sri Aurobindo. So he is known for his systematic and organized way of conducting events. So he is our mentor. So we are very much proud to honor Dr. S. Rajendra.
Now I call upon Dr. R. Murali, former principal, the Madura College.
Dr. R. Murali, an alma mater of Madras Christian College. He has 35 years of rich teaching legacy and he has published 7 books. So he has scripted for more than 25 All India Radio Madurai documentary programs. He is very well known throughout the world as a producer of Socrates Studio YouTube channel exclusively for philosophical discussions. So he has more than 1 lakh subscribers in YouTube, and he has acted as convener of Indian Philosophical Congress twice. So he has served in the capacity of member of Academic Council, Senate, and the syndicate of Madurai Kamaraj University. So he has acted as convener of 14 international documentaries and short film festivals. Now he is the coordinator for Save Higher Education Movement Tamil Nadu and the People's Education Movement. So the organizing committee is proud to honor Dr. R. Murali.
Now I call upon Dr. R. Selva Kumar, former head of the Department of Philosophy, Annamalai University.
Dr. R. Selva Kumar is a proud alma mater of Annamalai University. He has 20 years of rich teaching experience. He is a very good teacher, a scholar, and an academician. He specializes in Indian culture and temple management and cultural tourism. So he cleared SET in his first attempt. He is the first batch of SET in Tamil Nadu. Served as head of the Department of Philosophy, Annamalai University. Conducted many academic events during his regime as head of the department. He is a humanist, social activist, and associationist. Published more than 100 articles in reputed journals and proceedings. So we are honored to honor Dr. R. Selva Kumar.
Thanks to them for their invaluable contribution. Thank you, one and all.
Friends, the Indian Philosophical Congress had organized, had conducted essay competition on various themes, and the best essays were selected, and the convener of this committee is Professor Vinit Kumar Mahanta and Professor Anand Mishraji. So both of them will announce the name and will distribute the certificate as well as the cash award of 2,000 rupees. So, sir. So if they are available, give it. If they are available, students are available.
Thank you. I am announcing the name of the students who for essay competition. If they are here, they can come and take the certificate. First, SS Suryanarayan Shastri essay competition. Topic was comparative aesthetic. The name of the student who won the prize is Miss Suporna Datta, Department of Philosophy, Sidhu Kanun Bisa University, West Bengal. Is that Suporna? Yes. If you are not here, or somebody may collect, if anybody from that university. Anyway, the second goes B.N. Shill Memorial Essay Competition. The topic was Epistemic Responsibility, a Vital Tool for the Post-COVID Era. Here the name of the student who won the prize is Baiju P.A. He is from Birla Institute of Technology and Science, Pilani, Rajasthan. Is he here? Anyway. So the third essay competition is Dada Bhagwan Essay Competition. The topic was Holistic Way of Life and Living. The name of the student who won the prize is Swati Kumari, Research Scholar, Department of Philosophy, Delhi University. Yes, I think Shafi is here. So Swati Kumari, she received for her essay on holistic way of life and living. The fourth essay, Swami Pranavananda Essay Competition. The topic was philosophical counseling and well-being. Philosophical counseling and well-being. The name of the student who won the prize is Akansha Prajapati. Akansha Prajapati, Research Scholar, Department of Philosophy and Religion, Banaras Hindu University. So Akansha. It is for encouraging the young researchers. ITC is encouraging, and we also invite several donations from different organizations to encourage such essay competitions. Thank you so much.
Namaste. Pranam. There are two awards to be announced today. One Swami Pramanand Philosophy National Award and another Swami Pramanand Philosophy Book Award. The second award, Swami Pramanand Philosophy Book Award, goes to Professor B. Sam Shiv Prasad. Professor B. Sam Shiv Prasad. The award is for his book Gandhian Perspective on Economics and Ethics.
Sir. Down. Okay, super.
The other award is Swami Pramanand Philosophy National Award, and this award goes to renowned scholar Professor R.C. Pradhan, formerly Professor of Philosophy and Head University of Hyderabad. Professor Pradhan was also formerly Member Secretary of Indian Council of Philosophical Research. He was formerly the Commonwealth Fellowship awardee. He has published so many books. You know, all of us, we know about Professor R.C. Pradhan. Recently, some of his books have been published. Mind, Meaning and World from Springer, 2019. Second is Metaphysics of Consciousness 2020 from Springer. Third is the Early Philosophy of Daya Krishna 2021 from Springer. The fourth is Metaphysical Idealism, a Contemporary Perspective from Cambridge Scholars. And in this 24, he has published his book Ethics, Self and the World, Exploring Metaphysical Foundation in Moral Philosophy. So I invite some person from Hyderabad University to receive this award. Someone? Okay. Professor? Okay. Professor Rajkishore Nath from IIT Mumbai. He is going to receive the award of R.C. Pradhan sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now invite and request Dr. K. Vijayarani, Dean Faculty of Arts at Annamalai University, to facilitate the program.
Most respected dignitaries on the dais, most distinguished participants, good afternoon to everyone. So I feel very happy and I am honored to stand before you to participate, take part in the IPC organized 98-99 session, because this IPC was established by a great scholar. So I feel very happy. I want to say two reasons to conduct this program here. Before that, I would like to thank the President, Secretary and Joint Secretary and other members of IPC for giving this opportunity to conduct the session in Annamalai University. So everybody knows about our Annamalai University. It is a great university and a very old university among the few universities in the Asian country. Moreover, this is famous for this Chidambaram is famous for Lord Nataraja temple. So everybody knows about the Nataraja temple, but I have to say few lines regarding the temple. The temple is constructed based on the human body. This temple is located at the center point of the world, already mentioned by the Secretary, General Secretary as well as Dr. Thirumal. The temple roof is made of 21,600 gold sheet, which denotes the breath taken by a human being every day. These 21,600 gold sheets are fixed on, that is Vimanam, that is called the roof, using 72,000 gold nails, which denotes the total number of nadis, that is nerves in the human body. One more fact regarding the temple, Ponnambalam is slightly tilted towards the left side. This represents our heart. So this much two uniqueness is having Chidambaram. One is temple, another one is our Annamalai University. So we say very proud to conduct this IPC session here. So for that, once again I thank the members from IPC. I hope everybody, after completing these 4 days, you may go with full of knowledge regarding the Indian culture. One more thing I want to say in this stage. Our department, philosophy department, is one of the very oldest department in our university. It is going to celebrate the centenary celebration. Moreover, the members of the philosophy department, that is Dr. Thirumal and his team. They are doing the work like bees. So so I take the opportunity to congratulate the persons. So wish you all good luck. The session may be grand success. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, madam, for gracing the occasion. Every successful event requires meticulous planning and dedication. To extend gratitude to all who made this event possible, now I invite Dr. M. Bharani, Assistant Professor, Department of Philosophy at Namala University, Organizing Committee Member of IPC, to deliver the vote of thanks.
A very pleasant good afternoon to one and all present here. At the outset, I am very much delighted to stand before you to propose a formal vote of thanks of this inaugural session. At the outset, we express our sincere gratitude to Dharma Adinam 27th Guru Sannidhanam, Srila Sri Kailai Masilamani Desika Jnana Sambandha Paramacharya Swamigal for his gracious presence and his benedictory address. Next, we would like to express our sincere thanks to Prof. T. Arulchelvi Madam. In spite of her busy schedule, she accepted our invitation, and under her able leadership, we are doing this IPC. Thank you, Madam, for accepting our invitation and delivering the inaugural address. Next, I would like to thank Professor S. Panniyarselvam, the General Secretary of IPC. So he is the backbone of this program. Under his mentorship, we are doing all this. Thank you, sir, for introducing the theme of the Congress. Next, we would like to extend our thanks to Professor Kusum Jain for delivering the presidential address. So our sincere thanks goes to Professor M. Prakash for gracing the occasion and delivering a speech on this occasion. We are very much indebted to Professor William Sweet for his sweet keynote address. Then we are very much grateful to Professor Sachidananda Mishra for delivering a special address. Our sincere thanks goes to Professor K. Vijayarani for offering a wonderful felicitation address. We are also thankful to the office bearers of Indian Philosophical Congress, Professor S.K. Singh, Professor Dilip Kumar Mohanda, Professor Srikala Nair, Professor Xavier Mao, Professor Ananda Mishra, Professor Lakshmikant Padi for their gracious presence, and we are also grateful to the retired professors who are honored here for your presence, and also delegates from within Tamil Nadu and outside Tamil Nadu and also outside India. So we are very much thankful to you for attending this wonderful session. We are also very much thankful to Mother Nature and Lord Varuna for their timely support and cooperation. Once again, I take this wonderful opportunity to thank one and all. My thanks also goes to organizing committee members. For the last 2 weeks, they are working round the clock. Once again, thank you one and all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. With this, we conclude the inaugural session of the program. Thank you all for your attention and participation. Let us proceed to the next session as per the schedule. Have a wonderful day ahead.
ப்ரோக்ராம் கண்டினியூ இருக்குல்ல இன்னும் முடியல சாப்பிட்டு வரைக்கும் முடிச்சுப்பாங்க.
We are taking now a total break. After that, the endowment lecture will commence at Tech Park. Lunch will also be provided at Tech Park. Thank you.